Hey, welcome. So today we're diving into digital decluttering. And look, we're not just talking about deleting a few old files. This is about a full-on reset of your digital life, a way to get back your focus and maybe a little bit of your sanity. So let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right? Just overwhelmed. You're being pulled in a million different directions at once, and you're just trying to keep your head above water. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, well, you are definitely not alone. And that feeling of drowning? That's coming from somewhere. It's a direct result of all this digital clutter we're surrounded by. It's the constant buzz of notifications, the inbox that never, ever ends, the chaos on our desktops. This isn't just a messy room problem, it's a cognitive one. It is just plain exhausting. And here's the really wild part, the hidden cost of all that clutter. Get this. Research has found that after just one single phone interruption, it takes an average of 23 minutes to get back into a state of deep focus. Think about that for a second. Every buzz, every notification, it's not a 1-second distraction. It's a 23-minute tax on your brain power. And oh yeah, those 23-minute taxes are adding up fast. The average American checks their phone 205 times a day. That works out to about once every 5 minutes that you're awake. And here's the kicker. This isn't an accident. It's not a lack of willpower. It's by design. The apps on our phones are literally engineered to hijack our attention and keep us scrolling. So how in the world do we fight back against this? Well, we start with the most tangible piece of the puzzle, our digital stuff. This is about finally conquering those mountains of files and data that we've let pile up for years. And a huge chunk of this digital junk is stuff we can't even see. I'm talking about all those duplicate photos, the 10 versions of the same document, old backups, all of it just sitting there, silently eating up your cloud storage space in places like Google Drive. We don't notice them, but they're creating this constant, low-level digital noise. Now, you could try to go find all these duplicates yourself, but honestly, that would be an absolute nightmare. The good news is you don't have to. There are some really smart, automated tools that basically act like a digital cleaning crew. Apps like FileRev and CleanDrive can just scan everything and do all that heavy lifting for you. And you might be wondering, okay, but how do they work? Is it secure? And the answer is actually pretty brilliant. They do it without ever compromising your privacy. See, instead of downloading your actual files, these tools just look at the metadata, the data about your files. They use something called a file hash, which is like a unique digital fingerprint for the content of a file. If two files have the exact same fingerprint, boom, they're a duplicate, no matter what the file is named. It's super smart, it's efficient, and it's totally secure. Okay, so we've started to tackle our static files. Now let's move on to something that's a bit more dynamic. I'm talking about the constant, never-ending stream of information that is our email inbox. When you talk about email, you eventually have to talk about inbox zero. But here's the thing. Its creator, a guy named Merlin Mann, says that most of us get it completely wrong. The goal was never to literally have zero emails in your inbox. The real goal, as he put it, was to reduce the amount of time an employee's brain is in his inbox. It's about freeing up your mind, not about hitting a magic number. So how do you actually get that mental freedom? You do it by applying 4 simple actions to every single email you get. First, delete it if you don't need it. Easy. Second, delegate it. If it's not your job, forward it to the person whose job it is. Third, defer it. If it's going to take more than 2 minutes, get it out of your inbox and into a task list for later. And finally, and this is the real game changer, if it takes less than 2 minutes, do it right then and there. That 2-minute rule is your ultimate weapon against email procrastination. But is this system for everyone? Not necessarily. I mean, the benefits are obvious. More productivity, way less stress. But there are real downsides. For some people, it can create this constant pressure to be on, which can ironically end up shattering your focus. So here's the key takeaway. Take the principles that work for you and adapt them. Don't become a slave to somebody else's system. All right, we've tamed our files, we've started to master our email. Now we're moving on to the final and maybe the most important frontier. Reclaiming our attention from the very devices that are designed to steal it. This quote from a user over on Reddit just hits the nail on the head. It's those features, the infinite scroll, the endless recommendations, the auto-playing videos, those are specifically designed to bypass our self-control and just keep us hooked. The goal of these features is simple. Keep your eyeballs on that screen for as long as humanly possible. And hey, remember this? That 23-minute cost of refocusing? This is what it actually looks like in practice. A single notification buzzes, the habit loop kicks in, and nearly half an hour later, your brain finally gets back to what it was doing. Now, multiply that by the dozens or even hundreds of notifications we get every single day, and you start to see the scale of the problem we're facing. Okay, so what can we actually do about it? It is time for some high-impact strategies. First, remove the biggest temptations. Delete the most addictive apps right off your phone. And on your computer, use browser extensions that block their feeds. Then make your phone less appealing. Try enabling grayscale mode. You will be absolutely amazed at how much less you want to look at it. And finally, use the powerful tools you already have, like the built-in focus modes on your phone. So let's take the iPhone, for example. Setting up a focus mode is incredibly powerful. You can create a work mode that only lets notifications from your boss and your key work apps come through, or a personal mode for the evening that silences everything related to work. You can even have these turn on automatically when you get to the office or at a certain time of day. It's like having different versions of your phone for the different parts of your life. Whew, okay, we've covered a ton of ground here, from the messy closets of our digital files to the all-out battle for our minds. So let's bring this all together into a clear, simple path forward. The absolute most crucial thing here is not to get overwhelmed. So here's your action plan boiled down. For your digital stuff, the big idea is automation. Your first step is to just try a duplicate file finder. For your mail, the big idea is to process it systematically. Your first step is to apply that 2-minute rule starting today. And for your mind, the big idea is to create what's called mindful friction. Your first step is to just challenge yourself to enable grayscale mode for one single day. That's it. 3 small steps to get you started. And all of this brings us to one final, really important question. In this digital world we live in, your attention is, without a doubt, your most valuable resource. It's the currency you spend every single day. So you have to ask yourself, who's really in control of it? Is it you, or is it your devices? The choice ultimately is yours.